Lovely. Hello, boys and girls. It is episode 26 of Parapod. 6 months of our voice being transmuted to you through the electrical waves.
Whoa!
And it's also 26 years that the mighty Neil Wall has been on this earth, has graced this earth with his presence.
Wow. A key thing to note on this episode of all episodes. Yeah, it's great to be here, Owen. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm good. How are you, Marco?
Great. Just, actually, no. Actually, I'm going to be honest for once. I'm actually not good. This has been a terrible week. Ireland lost. Liverpool lost. I lost. Just rejection email after rejection email every single day. Just nothing's going my way recently.
Oh, jobs, man, fucking stop. Holy shit. I was like, all right, I'm gonna fucking apply for a job today. And I was like, all right, let's see how we get back like with that. And I just know I'm not gonna hear anything back.
Yeah. It's like when I'm doing an application, it's just like I'm not doing it thinking, oh, hopefully the person's reading this is going to love this turn of phrase or whatever, or like this experience I have. It's more like I can get this out of the way and then move on with my life, you know, without having to think about, oh, I have to do that application. It's like, you know, it's just a means to an end.
I have to say, like, Twitter can be quite stressful, but no social media is anywhere as stressful as LinkedIn. LinkedIn
is cursed.
I hate LinkedIn. I do not like being on LinkedIn because as soon as I
don't understand it.
I don't understand it, and when I'm on it, I feel like, oh, like, what am I doing here? Like, I feel like I'm like wasting my time or something. Like
It's like your boss is looking over your shoulder every time you log onto the website.
Like, as soon as I go into LinkedIn, I could just feel the eyes of corporations just looking at me. I'm like, oh no, I can't do this.
Yeah, just bottle every time. Every time I go into it, it's like it just brings you straight to your profile page. I was like, no one's gonna hire this. Like, this is a terrible profile. And then you can't even. It doesn't even have a social aspect like Facebook or like Instagram or whatever. Like, because if you go into someone else's profile, they can see that you've gone and looked at their profile.
Yeah, I know. Awful.
That's the worst part about it. It's like,
awful.
I can't look around, you know?
Yeah, I
can't stalk people on this. What's the point?
That's a thing on LinkedIn. I don't like the fact because I clicked on it today because like, oh yeah, fucking have a look at my fucking LinkedIn, and I was like, then I just got a notification like someone looked at it, and I was like, why the fuck were you looking at this? I was like, how did you find this?
It's like invasive.
It is. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't trust, and I don't like it's like I got no problem like retweeting a politician and telling them that they're a cunt, but I'm terrified to post anything on fucking.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever done that, but like I'd have no problem.
Yeah. Like what do you even post on LinkedIn?
Episode 26 of the Parapod is out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I work at the Parapod. It's like
Parapod Incorporation.
Yeah, like
whatever.
Underneath my name on LinkedIn it has a job that I never really even had, like the one at UBC. It's just a made up job title that wasn't even there. But like I don't know how to like get rid of it and change it to something more current. Like I just don't understand any of the mechanics behind that website. Like,
no,
you know?
Man, I still have like something that says like events officer at her campus. I was like, what? I was like, firstly, why the fuck did I stick that there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
it's a joke. Today doesn't feel. I know, but like in terms of like I'm actually kind of lying as well because today doesn't feel like a real day to me. I don't know what. Like today felt like a dream kind of or something. I don't know.
Why?
At like 1 o'clock, I was like, I was just sitting there. I was like, how the fuck is it 1 o'clock? Like I don't feel like I'm awake.
1 o'clock. Sure, that's when I wake up. That's standard stuff.
Well, I'd woken up at like 10 or 11 at that stage.
Yeah, the haze really gets to you.
I know.
These days. I thought it was going to snow as well today. It was snowing last night, and then I woke up and there's no snow. It's
that
like,
beast of the
everything's
lied
just,
to us.
Yeah, everything's just letting us down. Taking L's left, right, and centre.
Yeah,
but
except on the Parapod. On the pod, we're kings. Everything goes our way.
Yeah, this episode is a safe place, a haven. A haven of good times and brown town talk.
Yeah, so, good vibes. This is Vibe City right here.
This is Vibe City. I haven't even really watched any movies this week, but it's still great to be here. Well, have you been up to much goggle boxing yourself?
I've been pretty productive with my movie watching. I after we recorded last week's episode, I was like, I don't want to go to bed yet, but I want to watch something. But I don't want to watch something that's too long, and I don't want to watch something that's like, that I really have to listen to. So I knocked on a silent movie. I knocked on The Passion of Joan of Arc, which we talked about briefly last week, by the great Dreyer. Is it Frederick Dreyer? Is that his name?
Carl Dreyer.
Carl Theodor Dreyer. Whatever
that's
that's his name.
Carl Dreyer. Big Dane fella.
Big film, big important, highly acclaimed film that when you go back to like old films as well, that like you kind of have to like, you kind of have to give them the benefit of like the time or whatever. There's like, yeah, like the techniques or whatever, like they didn't hold up or anything, or like maybe the story doesn't hold up and stuff like that, or the effects or whatever. But for me, I think Joan of Arc like holds up. I think that film still works amazingly, and I think it's mostly because it is the performance of I have no idea what her name is. I should have definitely looked that up.
We have to start writing these things down. She's one of the most famous actresses of all time.
Yeah, we should be fucking taking. I don't know why I'm not taking notes of this shit, but Maria
Renee Jean Falconetti.
Falconetti. Oh my, yeah, she's
Renee Falconetti.
She is she's amazing. She has, but on Letterboxd she's only been in 4 films. So seemingly she did this film and then she never really did. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what her life was. I don't know what her life story is, but she's amazing in Passion of Joan of Arc. I think she's able to convey such like sorrow, but also like, I don't know how to describe it. This like divine belief that she will also be okay, if you know what I mean. Like you can see the kind of like the near madness in Joan of Arc's eyes, because the film is also mostly close-ups, which might not work for some people, but kind of it worked for me. It worked for me. I liked it. I think it also looks very clear. It doesn't like when we were talking about I remember 2 weeks ago or something when we were talking about Vampire, where like things look very grainy and gritty and stuff like that. Like Joan of Arc doesn't look like that. Joan of Arc looks pristine. It looks in HD. It's a very clear picture.
Yeah. It's well restored. Very clear.
But I think that has to. I was thinking that probably has something to do with the fact that like when Joan of Arc came out, it was critically acclaimed and it has stayed critically acclaimed. Meanwhile, Vampire was kind of like forgotten and nearly had to be fucking restored, whereas Joan of Arc has always been around. Kind of, it's always been an important movie. I would imagine that has to do with it. Did you watch Passion of Joan of Arc?
Yeah, I did. I had a sort of a different take on it. I just couldn't really vibe with it. It's like Vampire. Vampire is I think they're pretty much the same in terms of like physical film quality. Like Vampire is like deliberately kind of like wishy-washy and grainy, like it was shot that way, and like it was restored from the original role. I assume the same way as Joan of Arc was. But I think like it's just the fact that, as you say, like the whole close-up thing is like a huge part of the film. But
it's literally all close-ups.
Yeah, half of the film is just a close-up of her looking really sad and she's crying and stuff. And it's like she's just obviously very authentic performance, and you really feel that she's in that position, and you feel really bad. It's like, oh Jesus, but like that's really it. It's just the story of Joan of Arc, and all the close-ups and great acting performance. But like that's really it,
I think that even in terms of like writing, for me, the cards, what are they called?
The intertitles, yeah.
The intertitles, yeah. I think even those were like way better written than I expected them to be. Because most of the time, because I watched the Charlie Chaplin like the day afterwards, because like, oh, I'll just do the same thing and like just watch like a silent movie before bed or whatever. And I was like, Jesus, these like titles are really just explaining like what's happening or whatever. But like in Joan of Arc, it was dialogue and it was like explaining like different points of views, and you can really understand like they're them trying to catch her out on like blasphemy charges or whatever. And like it is like kind of having to kind of see like for the times, it was pretty. I think it was really impressive. But even now, I think it still like holds up. It's still well written, and it's still a really good version of what it is. If you know what I mean, because it's the first one. Like I've seen, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen a movie where they're trying to get you in the court, and they're trying to like trying to get you on charges. The church are trying to get them on charges of like blasphemy or whatever, trying to trick them to say something or whatever. But no, this was like a really good version of that. I think I really like, I really loved it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but like half the thing is just like the monk's going, "You've forsaken God," and then she's like, "No, you've forsaken God," and it's just like that going back and forth for ages. But like she's sad as well.
Cool, clever ways.
Yeah, it's like, but you know, it is. It's like really like it's very pensive film. And get inside Joan's head, and she was a mad bitch. She was, I don't know what she was thinking about that whole, you know, like what was her motive? Like she was just crazy.
I have no idea.
I don't know what she was doing.
Because I was watching it and I was like, I just realized I know literally nothing about Joan of Arc. I don't know what the fuck, like I don't know who the king that she was talking about is. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah. I was reading up on it after because I didn't know it either. I didn't know anything about it really. I was reading up about it afterwards, and like the whole story is like during the 100 Years' War. And France was getting like absolutely destroyed by England. Like England ruled half of France, and she was like some illiterate farm girl, and she's 19 years old, which it mentions in the film. And you're like, wow, like she's only a kid. This illiterate 19-year-old farm girl goes up to the king. It's like, God told me for you to put me in charge of your army, and the king was like, let's do it. Let's go with it. Let's go with it. Why not? Because everything else had completely failed. So he's like, let's just give command of my army to this random farm girl, and it sort of worked. So, but it's like it's a crazy kind of you know, maybe there is something divine about that, and there's that sort of sense of something weird, some sort of greater purpose in every frame of the Passion of Joan of Arc.
Yeah,
I say that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of it is her eyes, you can at one point when she's like almost getting trapped or whatever, like. You can see the pearly white gates in her eyes nearly, but I think that's just that's like the lighting that they're using or whatever. But like it adds to the effect.
That's the lighting. What?
Because I was looking at it, I was like, am I seeing things? Or I don't know. Actually, like the light is making it look like that.
That's the lighting.
But like
that's
you
great.
can see like her eyes are so big and like you get like and so filled with like
tears,
hope and tears, and just like this belief that like. God will protect her, like no matter what, and
didn't turn out too well.
Didn't turn out too good, you know. But
yeah, the ending is really cool.
The ending's very cool.
It's like
other people.
It catches or the meter really picks up. Like it's way quicker. Like most of the film is like really slow and thoughtful.
Oh yeah, this is
and sad and stuff.
Unbelievably slow.
The ending is like. You know, she's getting burned, and it's like way more. It's you see other people as well, like sort of the townsfolk and you know, crowds, and there's a lot of cool shots as well. Like you know, the shot just before she's burned, and they have it's like out of like this window, and there's a courtyard, and all these like a huge crowd of people just pour in like a cement. It's like synchronized the way they did it. It's like a really sort of, you know, you appreciate the style. You put a lot of thought into every frame of the film.
Yeah.
Like I was reading something about how she like the way she inspired her performance is she'd get down before the cameras start rolling, she'd get down, start crying on her knees and like throw herself to the ground and stuff and be like completely like hysterical, and then the cameras would roll and she'd go completely blank to convey like an inner turmoil, like to sort of repress it.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
So
yeah, that like it worked. Like
it worked. It definitely worked.
Because you can definitely, because you can feel like the fatigue in her. Like not you can't visually see it, but you can feel it from her performance that like Joan of Arc is like just bollocks and just tired because of like everything that's going on basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is an extremely slow movie though. Like this is. Like one of the slowest movies. Like this is a film that you like meditate to basically.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 36 minutes I think, but it took me a while to watch. Like I couldn't watch it one go because it's just sort of it takes its time, does what it's doing, you know. It's like it's in no rush. God's always there.
Yeah, it really is a film that like has no rush, and like he's just like because it was like I think I watched it at, like the perfect time. I was like, I'm a bit tired, but I'm not gonna go to sleep now, so I'll just stick on Joan of Arc, and then I slept like a baby that night afterwards. It's like I ticked off one of the great films. I gotta like chill out, vibe with it,
Celebrate
celebrate the
vibe.
glory of Jesus.
Glory of Jesus. Jeanne d'Arc. What a
Jeanne
name.
d'Arc. Yeah, what a mad bitch though. Holy shit.
Yeah. Stones
Like,
on her.
Wouldn't be
What was
me.
she
Like, wouldn't be me.
Yeah. What was she thinking? A very strange time. Very strange time. There's not really films about it, you know?
Yeah, because I was gonna say I don't know much about the 100-Year War because like you don't see much media and shit about it.
Yeah, it's like, why was there a war for 100 years? Something about France and England.
Yeah, would you not just drop a nuke and get it over with? Like, come on.
Yeah. Apparently, Game of Thrones is based on the war that happened after that. After the English lost, they were in like disarray, so the families were fighting over stuff, and that's what the Game of Thrones is based on. War of the Roses. So
Yeah,
that's all I know.
too complicated. Too many
Yeah,
kings. Too many
yeah.
Factions.
Just keep it simple, lads.
Yeah, just be-
good guys and bad guys, you know.
That's why World
Don't
War
have
II is beautiful. It's just bad guys, good guys. It's simple.
Yeah, don't have everybody be bad guys. You know, have a bit of a beginning, a middle, and end. You need plot development and all that stuff.
We
You know,
need
it's
an
not-
arc.
You need an arc. Yes, Joan of the Arc. There you go. Look at that.
There we
Great
go.
arc in her story.
Yeah, ended badly, but yeah, great arc.
Yeah. You know.
But yeah.
Yeah.
What else did you watch anything else?
I coordinated with our
docket.
and I watched Return to Oz,
Sweet.
which is a sequel from the people who brought you The Godfather and Casino or something like that.
And Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, Apocalypse Now. He also directed this thing called Return to Oz, which I think everyone has seen or has some awareness of. And it's a sequel to
It's a
Wizard of
childhood
Oz.
trauma film.
Yeah, I think everyone saw this and like was traumatized by it. Because I don't know why, but they definitely showed this quite a bit on TV back in the day.
Yeah, because like, I was just with my family, and my sister was like, "Yeah, I've seen this," and I was like, "Yeah, I've seen this as well." And my mom was like, "Where?" And I was like, "I have no idea." And she's like, "Did someone show you this?" And I was like, "I don't think so. I think it was just on the TV." And she's like, "Okay," because I would want to have a word with someone if they showed you this as a kid, because it's a weird movie.
It's very weird. It's very
It had
scary.
to have been RTE or something.
Yeah, it would have been like something they just put on there, like, oh, it's the kids era. Yeah, Return to Oz. Yeah, isn't that something to do with Wizard of Oz? Put that on, you know, or like Nick at Night maybe, or like Cartoon Network. Maybe one of them showed it. But I just remember the Wheelers and the headless people in the gallery.
Same.
And
That's what I remember. I
really
think that's what
stuck with me.
everyone remembers. The
Yeah.
Wheelers, man, they just
They're
speak to you.
scary. They're scary. Why do they have wheels? They're not
They're
even wheels. They're
super weird.
hubcaps. They have hubcaps for hands and feet. And yeah, it's like Dorothy going back to Oz, but everyone in Oz has been fucked up. Everyone's turned to stone, and it's ruled by
A war has happened.
yeah. And there's like it's ruled by a gnome king, but he's not actually a gnome. He's like a mountain.
He's a big rock dude.
He's a big rock. And
But yeah,
yeah,
big rock dude. The
yeah, he gets fucked up.
the director to this was the editor of Apocalypse Now and like all these films. And I watched the video on Return to Oz, and Disney were just like, when they were getting the daily footage or whatever, like when they were seeing like what was going on, they're like, "Get this cunt off this. This is not happening. Like,
Call this
no
in.
fucking way. We need someone else. We need like friendly the fuck out of it, because like this is really heavily based on the books." Because the books are like super fucked up. The books are really surreal. Like, and this one met like for like a little example is that Return to Oz gives the actual backstory to the Tin Man, and that is that the Tin Man was like had his axe enchanted by the Wicked Witch of the West, and he hacked his legs and all of his limbs off, and then they just turned to tin or something like that. Like, that's what happened to him. It's something along those lines.
Yeah, the Tin Woodsman
Yeah.
or something. He has a different name and all. Dorothy explains it in the film, and I was like, was that his backstory?
That's his actual backstory,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
not mentioned in Wizard of Oz, the
Yeah.
OG one. But that's the type of shit that's in the books. They're really surreal and like creepy and fucked up. And the director, don't know his name, but like that's what he wanted to do. and Disney were like, "You are not doing this. Get the fuck out of here." And then so they pulled him off, and then George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and Coppola all stepped in, and they're like, "No, no, 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 no. This is our boy, right? He's fucking directing this movie." And George Lucas was like, "If it's a complete disaster by the end of the film, I'll step in and I'll try and fix it." And Disney were like, "All right, fine." And they released it, and then the dude never directed anything again.
Yeah, he's still going though. Walter Murch.
He just went back to editing.
Yeah, he just edits things now. I think he has something coming out. But yeah, he just edits now. But yeah,
It's hilarious.
yeah, this wasn't even like liked at the time. It's like it has like 50% Rotten Tomatoes. But it's good. I like it. I think
like
it's
it.
good.
Like I like it, but I like a lot about it, but
It's just a
I
kids film, like.
I think the pacing is a bit off because like it is literally she goes to one location, like when she gets to Oz, she walks straight to Oz. Like in the original one, it took her like the whole film to get there, but in this one,
Unrealistic.
We have a Shrek 4 situation where they're just like, fuck this. The main character needs to get to the place that took them like basically half the film of the first film, half of the first film to get there. Cut the bullshit, get them there, and so she gets there, and she leaves there. Like as soon as she leaves Oz, she goes straight to the mountain. Like,
Yeah, it works.
like there's only like 2 locations.
Yeah, I watched it on 1.5 speed, so like I wasn't too aware of the pacing, but I think it makes like I just think like I love the whole the beginning. I haven't seen Wizard of Oz in, I don't know, like 20 years or something. But like,
Man, I don't think I've ever seen Wizard of Oz in full.
yeah, but I don't know what they have for the backstory for Dorothy. You know, it's just like, oh, she's in Kansas or whatever. And this one, Dorothy is like being fucked up by these crazy people who want to like put her into electroconvulsive therapy, and she escapes. I also remember from being a kid, I remember the what's that thing she escapes in on the river? It's like a cradle or like a cot.
It's like a chicken box or something. I
Yeah,
don't know what the fuck
something like that. But yeah, I remember that. I remember that floating down the river, and then as a kid, just being like, "Where the fuck is she?" when she gets off it, and like the whole river disappears, and she's with the talking chicken and stuff. Like
that bit is so funny.
It's great. Yeah.
Like,
Bellina,
she's
great.
Bellina's just suddenly just shows up. Bellina was not there beforehand, and Dorothy's just like, "Well, if we were in Oz, it would make sense that you could talk." And it's like, your chicken has not talked like throughout the entire film. Now your chicken's suddenly talking, and you're like, "Well, the only way I can explain this is if we were in Oz, but we're not in Oz, Bellina."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh shit, we are in Oz."
Oh shit, yeah. The river just went down. We're in Oz. But I love that aspect to it. You know, I love it's nice. It's just a cool way of telling the story. You know, it's very surreal. I love the surreal aspects of it. Man, it just works. You know.
It's super weird and super creepy.
Yeah, I love the couch.
It's still weird.
I love the couch monster thing with the moose head. The
man,
gump.
I hate that fucking
The
thing.
gump. He's so funny.
He was so awkward. Like he kind of like
so awkward.
He was like he's just awkward. Like I felt like he was always in pain or something.
Yeah, he's the gump. It's like
he's an abomination against life itself.
Yeah, it's the whole. It's literally surrealism. Embodied in a sort of couch moose monster that can fly, you know, and it's like they steal this powder that gives inanimate objects life, and they put like a moose head, like a moose trophy head, and a couch, and like palms
tied it
all together, and then sprinkle the powder on it, and somebody's alive, and they start talking to him, and it's just the moose's head talking. He's like, "Last thing I remember, I was in a forest, and then it was all dark." I was like, this guy.
And now I'm here.
Yeah. Now I'm here talking to you. It's like it's so dark, but also hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, no. I love TikTok, man. TikTok was the best.
TikTok is hilarious as well.
TikTok is the best of the companions.
Lift me up.
He's great.
He's always falling over. Yeah.
But even like when he's just like, or she says to him like, "How can you talk? How can you talk if I don't wind up like because he used to wind up like his thoughts and his speech or whatever and his action." Which is him moving or whatever, and she's like, "How can you talk if I don't wind up your thinking or whatever?" And it's like, people do it all the time. People talk without thinking all the time.
Yeah, he is gas. He is a good man. So,
what do you think of Jack though?
Jack, I like Jack. I didn't mind him. I heard people are afraid of him.
The mommy shit was weird. He's just a weird design as well.
Yeah.
Because Disney cut the. I was like, we were talking about this. I was talking to Robert, if you're listening. He was telling me about that Disney cut the fucking budget to this to shit. Like they were just like, this day we need to cut our losses on this thing. Like you're not getting as much money as you think you're going to be getting because of what you're doing. So Jack was meant to be like animatronic and all, which I'm so glad that he wasn't. That would have looked even weirder.
Yeah, I think that would look cool. You know,
No, I
'Cause
like the
everything-
simple design.
everything looks mad. Everything looks crazy and like not simple at all in this film though.
No,
Like even the Gnome King, it looks like it's like stop motion animation for most of it, but then sometimes he's an actor in like
yeah,
grey
then
makeup.
he slowly becomes more human or something.
Yeah.
Else weird.
It's like that YouTube clip from the Adventures of Tom Sawyer where they're all slow motion. It's about Satan and stuff like that. It's so like that. It's like he's crumbling, like in front of you, which makes sense because he's a mountain.
Oh yeah, when he dies, that was horrifying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hated his eyes. The first time that he like transformed, like became more human, and he just got like human eyes. I hated it. His eyes were so like white and blue compared to everything else. Like his eyes are like penetrating my soul.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I remember him like creeping me out when I was younger. And then the headless witch, Mombi. Oh God, fuck me,
Mombi,
man.
Yeah, she's mad. She was very scary when I was a kid.
I always remembered her being like way more in it than she actually is.
Yeah, I thought she was the villain before I watched it again, but she's not. It's the Gnome King. But yeah, she's only in it for like 15 minutes really, and then they escape and they give Gump the
it's
the
like a
magic
Hannibal
powder.
Lecter situation.
yeah. But she's barely in it, but she's like, and she gets crushed by the Gnome King at the end. She gets owned by him, like just gets fucked up.
I think that bit is hilarious. I love the bit where because he's just like toying with them or whatever, and she comes like, "Oh, quick, we gotta hurry," because like Dorothy and the gang are showing up, or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And she's like, "Oh, they're already here." And he's like, "Yeah," and I have it. I'm sorting it out. They're all I have them captured. Don't worry about it. And he's giving them a game or whatever that like it's impossible for them to like figure out what like how to overcome the game, which is like going into the room and like touching on an object to try and like rescue the people that are like trapped in the object or whatever. And as soon as he realizes that Dorothy's gotten one right, he turns to like Mom. He's like, "You fucked up, you stupid bitch. This is not your fault." He's like, "You let them escape or whatever." but like seconds beforehand, he's like, "Don't worry about it. I got this.
I got this." Yeah, it's great. Cause there's no logic to it, but it's Oz. There's not supposed to be logic. It's surreal. It's crazy. It's like a kid's imagination. Like that's the whole point of it, isn't it? You could even read the whole film as like a hallucination that she has in the electroconvulsive thing. I didn't.
No, you easily could.
Yeah, I didn't even see the end. The last 5 minutes.
I wouldn't do that. Like I would just say that it is like a real place. I think it's a very easy thing to do, especially with like the Wheelers, because like they literally like it's like shows you multiple things at the start of the film that could be like, oh no, it's like the electroconvulsion therapy or whatever. Because she's literally like for no reason she just has like a little pumpkin head and it's just like combing its hair, like its head or whatever. And then later on, Jack is like, "Oh, Mom," and shit like that. Like this, like I think you could definitely do it, but I like to just think that it's just this weird fucked up place that she ends up going to, like, and she's just like, "Oh shit, now I'm in Oz again. Fuck."
Back here again. Yeah.
I like the way though that, like she doesn't have like any sort of like character development. She literally just floats through Oz, just sorting out other people's problems, and then leaves.
Yeah, she's Dorothy. She's the Jesus of Oz. That's the whole point.
She really is.
She's not there to develop her character. It's like she's just there. Jesus, the Scarecrow King. I didn't know the Scarecrow was the king, but apparently he is.
God, that Scarecrow.
Yeah.
I didn't like him in this one. Oh.
Yeah, he's a bit weird. Does he become the king in the first one?
No, I think it's like so. Robert was telling us that like in the books, after Oz dies, the Scarecrow basically like takes control and like overthrows the kingdom. Basically,
There's a coup.
Like he basically forces him, like gets like elected king or whatever. But then Ozma, who's in this one, she's the actual ruler of Oz.
that definitely sounds like the Wizard of Oz. But yeah, the Scarecrow King in this literally sends a key to an alternate dimension to get Dorothy back. You know, even though he's like frozen in that dimension, in that world, in Oz.
I don't know. It's so
I don't know how it works, but basically,
works.
I'd like an adaptation. I don't know, I'd like a threequel, like another sequel to this film, where we see what happens in Oz when they try to get Dorothy back. Like, you'd have some sort of cult, you know, and she'd be Jesus, and you'd have a Joan of Arc figure that believes in Dorothy and, like, you know, some kind of theology where it's like reversed.
That sounds really good.
You know, something like that. You know, it's interesting anyway.
What do you think happened to the Munchkins?
The Munchkins.
Yeah, because the Munchkins, man, when she first
Man, they
landed,
turned into
she's like,
wheelers.
Man, I was saying this to people like last night. I was like, "Now I'm telling you what happened, right? All the gnomes showed up, right, and they marched all the Munchkins to like the desert of death and just fucked them into the desert of death, and they all turned into sand because that wheeler got fucked up when he landed in that desert."
Jeez, there was a fucking Munchkin Holocaust.
Yeah,
That's really
I'm telling
dark.
you.
There's a massive potential for like a realistic Oz, you know.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
telling you,
yeah.
there's so much you could do with that place. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. I was really terrible. I'm only thinking now, like, as if like, you know, Dorothy will return, and this fucking Joan of Arc figure is like, no, she will come back.
Yeah, you know.
Like it's fucking burnt at the stake
Yeah,
by the gnome king.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, the scarecrow or whatever. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. But you'd have the risk of like turning into fucking Lord of the Rings or something. Like the whole a Munchkin pogrom. Like you're thinking, like that's Lord of the Rings written all over, you know.
It does.
But, it's cool anyway. It definitely works. Surrealist
like,
kids films, sign me up.
Yeah, I know it's like a cliche, but goddamn, you really don't get movies like this anymore.
You actually don't.
And they would never make a movie like this again.
No. Yeah, it scared people. Well, there's
Like,
a
fucked
reason
up
it barely
kids
got made in
movies,
the first place.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what's another like really fucked up kids movie? Like besides that Adventures of Tom Sawyer, because I've never even seen that until.
It's like a TV series. A fucked up kids movie. Fox
Really?
and the Hound. The most fucked up film I've ever seen.
Yeah, Fox and the Hound is fucked
That's
up, man.
so sad. I refuse to ever watch that film again because it's so sad. They all just die.
Yeah, the start of a dinosaur is like that. Start of Dinosaur, like that was my favorite
What's
film as a kid.
Dinosaur?
It's like this old Disney movie that people kind of forgotten. CGI dinosaurs. It's pretty good. But the start of it is like these dinosaurs just chilling about or whatever, and like, you know, they're looking after. Sorry, I'm forgetting. There's a couple of different bits to the start of the movie, but the actual opening of the film is all these dinosaurs just chilling out or whatever, and then there's one little dinosaur just like goes running over to a bush or whatever, and he looks up, and then you just see like these eyes in the bushes or whatever, and then he comes legging it. Then he starts like fucking tearing ass away from there, and this T-Rex just hauls ass after him and chases him and stomps down on a load of fucking baby eggs, but one of them survives. And then in the background you can just see this dinosaur getting fucking mauled by the T-Rex, and then this other little dinosaur comes over and grabs the egg, and then we follow the egg on its journey to eventually land with all these monkeys, and then the dinosaur hatches whatever, and the monkeys take care of him. But boom, when he's like 15 years old or something, a fucking meteor hits, and like the monkeys get fucking wiped out except for a few of them, and they have to traverse this like fucking apocalyptic wastelands to try and find water.
Why is there monkeys in a dinosaur movie?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
Because someone needed to hold the baby.
What the fuck? I've never heard of that film.
Man,
I've
Dinosaur
never
was
heard
my
of it.
favorite movie when I was a kid, and it's like looking back, I'm like, that film is fucked.
Yeah, that sounds bizarre. I just looked it up and I just got dinosaurs. Like the group of reptiles were now extinct. But
It's
yeah,
on, I think it's on Netflix,
is it?
or not Netflix. Sorry, yeah, Disney Plus.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
Disney
yeah.
movie.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, fucked up kids movies. You need more of those.
Yeah, we do.
Give those kids a slap of reality, you know.
Yeah, they're all protected these days. All these special snowflakes in the world.
Fucking
They don't know.
snowflakes.
They don't know. They didn't come up like us. Rough is
on the streets.
yeah, nails for breakfast on the streets. Watching Dinosaur and Wizard of Oz and stuff like that.
And
We
like,
saw
this really
we
fucked
saw
up
it all.
episode of SpongeBob.
Yeah, we saw the hashling slash and all that. You know,
we
We're
were
ready
we
for
were
the
in
real
thick
world.
of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Besides Bundeloafe, did you watch anything else?
I've watched nothing except for them, except for those two films.
I'm going to talk about a new movie once again. A movie that came out just on Friday. The new John David Washington and Zendaya movie, Malcolm and Marie. Written and directed by Sam Levinson. Now, I don't know much about Sam Levinson, but from this movie, I am going to go out on a limb and say Sam Levinson is a fucking asshole. That dude is a fucking pretentious piece of shit.
Why?
This film is so fucking bad. I hated it. It's so bad. And the only reason why I think like some people are being positive over it is because it has two really good actors in it. But everything in this film is smoke and mirrors for what this film actually is, right? So this film is about Malcolm and Marie, and it is, two people in a location, one location, and over the course of one night, and it's going through their arguments over that night, because Malcolm and Marie, I don't know why they're fucking together. The film never gives us a reason to believe why they should be together, except for the fact that these are two attractive people. That's the only reason why these two might be with each other, because there's never a moment where you're like, oh, these two people love each other, or anything like that. Anyway, the cool thing about this movie was that it was shot, it was created and shot and like finished and everything during lockdown, and they were able to like abide by like restriction guidelines or whatever. So it's a really small cast, really small crew, 2 actors, no one else, all on location, everything. So it's cool like that. And what the film is about is Malcolm talking about like film criticism and art criticism, and he makes a few good like points where he's talking about like how like as a black director he gets compared to other black directors, and woke film critics or whatever like kind of like really like read into his films as being like political and stuff like that. And there's maybe a point there to be made, and I do agree with some of the points he makes.
This sounds terrible. I'm just gonna say.
But at a certain point,
this does not sound good.
It becomes very, very obvious that Malcolm is not actually a character, but a mouthpiece for Sam Levinson, because Malcolm is not talking about Malcolm's films. He's talking about Sam Levinson's films. Now, Sam Levinson's dad made The Rain Man and like a lot of other like Oscar films and shit like that. And for me, it seems like Sam Levinson is like, I don't want to be compared to my dad because I'm making things that are different, and my things are not political or shit like that, or any of this bullshit fucking arguments. To be honest, I was so bored by this film that like I was continuously like completely switched off. I have no idea what the actual ending like. So this film is like in monologues, like it's one monologue, then another monologue, then another monologue, and monologue after monologue. The two characters just arguing back and forth, argument and then counter argument, argument and then counter argument constantly, and it's so repetitive, and they are basically arguing about the same thing for nearly 2 hours.
This sounds absolutely terrible. I don't know why anyone would watch this.
It is pretentious wanker bullshit. It is so bad. Sam Levinson like is nowhere near as good as a writer as he thinks he is.
This is the same guy who directed Endgame. Sam Levinson. Operation Endgame, that is. A 2010 action comedy.
I was like, what?
Operation Endgame, which is, I don't know, like his filmography. Let me just say, it's not very good.
Well, he did a film called Assassination Nation, and I've heard very mixed things about that film. But that film I've heard is about social media, and for him to be like, not everything is political, while making films that are very blatantly about something like this film is political. I don't know why he's making this argument. It's
rich kid syndrome. That's all it is. His son or his dad, he's like, I'm not my dad. So he has to make a film about it. How much does this film cost to make? Probably millions.
2 million or something.
2.5 million. Could he not have invested that in something more productive? Something that could have contributed to society? I haven't even seen this film, and it offends me. What you've just told me there offends me as a humanitarian. What a waste of money. What a waste
It's
of money.
fucking bullshit. And it's like a guy like you can really see Sam Levinson like struggle to try and convince you that he's an auteur. He is a director. He makes art is what he's trying to fucking
did
prove to you with this
Euphoria.
film. He created Euphoria. Now, I don't understand. I've never seen Euphoria, but I'm
Heard it's
willing to
good.
bet that Euphoria isn't good because Sam Levinson is part of it. It's good because it's a collection of people, and Malcolm and Marie is a small cast where Sam Levinson basically had like control. Like he had like everything to do with this film. Like there wasn't much people to be like, maybe you sound like a bit of a fucking asshole saying this. Maybe you sound like a bit of a fucking asshole making a film that's basically like just you giving out about the film industry and how films are being perceived. Like maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you might come off as a pretentious, whining bitch. No one did that, and so this is what the film is. And I think like Euphoria is like a collection of people that are able to bounce off ideas. And there's other writers for Euphoria. It's not just Sam Levinson and stuff like that. Oh god, I hated this movie. I hated it. It's so fucking boring. The only saving grace is that it has two actors that I like. And I don't even think I think it's extremely difficult to act well when the dialogue is so fucking bad.
To be fair to this guy, and I know it's been a very. You obviously don't like this film.
Oh man, this is like one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Yeah, but like to be fair to this guy, Sam Levinson, he's had,
Levinson.
he's had a bad day. Obviously, this is not a good film, but it was also produced by Zendaya and John David Washington. So they signed off on this. That's the worst part here. Labyrinth also did the music. Fair play to him. He's back.
Yeah, the music is just like
Pass out. What a
even,
film.
like,
Or what a song.
even the like the music and like the music is like good or whatever, but it's just like jazz music, like jazz music, or whatever. So what happened is like they'll have an argument about like politics or something, and like half the arguments is politics. The other half is talking about like Malcolm and Marie's relationship, and Malcolm like ripping off basically Marie's life, or whatever. And for that part of it, like it is like, that's some form of character development. But Malcolm is so unlikable. He's a fucking piece of shit. He's a horrendous person, and you do not like him. And the entire time, I was like, why are these two people with each other? The film, like Marriage Story, does a similar thing where, like, the two of them are kind of fucking assholes, but at least at the start of Marriage Story, it tells you why these two loved each other at one stage. But Malcolm and Marie doesn't do that. Malcolm and Marie is just the arguments that they're having, and they are literally saying the most heinous shit to each other. There's a bit where like Malcolm is like sitting beside Marie, looking at her, and he just looks at her and he just says, I could pick you up and snap you in two if I wanted to. And you're just like, whoa, like what the fuck?
Apparently John David Washington joined the project after this guy Sam Levinson read 10 pages of dialogue to Washington over the phone. Washington said, I couldn't believe it. It was beautiful words I heard, and at the same time very disturbing, but real visceral confrontations. What's this guy thinking?
Well, I would imagine then that John David Washington might also have a similar issue with, having a really famous dad.
Does he?
And Denzel Washington is his dad.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh, that makes so much sense.
And then with
Washington.
Zendaya, I know that like Zendaya agreed to like I had already agreed to do this when Sam Levinson came up to her, like when they were doing Euphoria. He was like, oh yeah, we should like make a movie or something. She's like, oh yeah, I like the idea of that. So she signed off on it, like basically as soon as he said that this was an idea.
She's a hostage, man. She's a hostage. They have stuff on her.
But yeah, this film, because like I read something about like how Levinson like allowed, like he like it was like the thrill, like, or I think it was Zendaya saying like it was a very personal film, and like sometimes this like sometimes we just went off the script or whatever, and we just like said whatever we wanted to say, and I was like, oh, you should not say that, don't say that, because people are gonna think you're a fucking asshole because of that. Like, you kind of, Mark, I think you actually should. You need to just watch like the start of this movie or something.
I won't be watching this film. This is the worst review I've ever heard you give of any
Oh,
film.
like,
So I don't think.
and it's in black and white, and the only reason why it's in black and white is just to be pretentious and like look nice.
There's never
Like,
been a
that's-
good film in black and white. It's a fact. That's a
no
fact.
no
That's a
good
fact.
film in black and white.
Most of our films today are black and white, but that's a fact. It's just a fact.
This film, like, you had such an opportunity. You had two amazing actors. You had Netflix backing you. You had money. You could have done and like close, tense movie. You could have done that, but instead, you made a film about whining about the film industry. That you're like, when people hear about like your dad or something, they're just like, "Oh shit, yeah, do whatever you want to do." Like, you have a free pass to basically do whatever you wanted to do, and you did. And what you did with it was that you complained about the fucking industry.
I'm not my dad, man. Made a whole film about that. That's amazing. That's fair
But-
play to him. Fair play to him. Man, I never knew or John David Washington was.
Yeah, it's
Denzel
gas,
Washington's
isn't it?
son. What the fuck? It's just one big family up there, isn't it? You know, they're all inbred.
Hollywood is just families.
Just families, dynasties. Yeah, this is like. It seems like it's definitely kind of a daddy issues kind of film, basically.
Yeah. Or just like having a like. Stop critiquing me like really harshly. Stop reading into my movies too much. Just like switch off your. It's basically what his argument is like. Just switch off your brain and enjoy a movie. I was like, excuse me. Like, shut up. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna give that one a skip.
I'm sorry being a really famous film director is so hard for you.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard growing up rich and then making films whenever you want. You know, this poor guy.
For a film that's shot in one location, is about two people arguing. There is no tension in the film whatsoever. Somehow the film achieved to do that. To be a, oh god,
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that.
I've been waiting all weekend for that.
Jesus.
I need to let that off the chest. I needed that. I feel lighter now.
Let off bit of steam. Bit of steam.
Bit of steam. Now to move on to a film, from a film that had no heart, no soul, no charm, to a movie that I think is filled with charm.
It's all charm,
Bundeloafe II.
all heart, all soul, and that's it. It's like the Scarecrow from Wizards of Oz. You know,
that's a great
you know.
comparison.
Whereas Malcolm and Marie is the Tin Man. No, Bundeloafe II. What a film! What an anomaly!
I am like. I just want to thank Jack Rudden for fucking mentioning this as one of the hidden gems. Because like when we mentioned all the hidden gems, Bundeloafe II, the Return of Jafar was a film I had never fucking heard of.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this? And then Jack and his friends like screenshotted and put us up on the Bundeloafe fan page, and I was like, what? Because I didn't realize that they were the ones that ran the page. I was like, what the fuck is Bundeloafe?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I saw the notification. I was like, what? Have I been like? It's like an eyes wide shut moment, you know? Because it was the same week we were doing that. I was like, some sort of conspiracy, some sort of underground cult we've been initiated into without our consent. But I'm fully consenting right here, right now, after having seen the film. There's something about it.
So happy to watch this film. I ranted for a while. Do you want to go on this one for a bit?
Bundeloafe II. Well, how do we introduce this? This is obviously it's a cult film in the sense it's not just a cult film. It's not an underground film. This isn't an indie film that your friends are like, your cool film friends are like, oh, you should really see this, man. You know, I saw it in the Lighthouse the other day. It's like, this is A24 produces. This is a film with 500 views on YouTube. It's 1 hour 56 minutes long or something like that. 2013 film, written, directed, acted, produced, I suppose, by Gus, what's his name? Max Wilson and Gus Deeker, who are these guys. I'm not sure where they're from, but basically, they made this film that is like, I don't know. It's like it's like the Rosetta Stone of film from like a different universe. You know, it has its own logic to it, and like it sort of seems on the level, like on a superficial level, like just like a standard sort of slapdash student film, but there's like so much more going on. They sort of have to watch it to get. It's also something that you noted as well before we start recording, that it's like it's a film that you can really watch on 1.25 speed. It almost adds to the mania.
Yeah.
There's like this real energy like coursing through the film. It's like pure creativity almost. And like you can stick it on. You could probably watch this on like triple speed or something, like with like subtitles, and it still work because it's just like you really get pulled into like the enthusiasm of it.
Yeah, because it's just a bunch of guys that are like
dudes,
just a bunch of friends making a movie, basically. Like, and it is so filled with charm. It's funny. It's real funny. I laughed
is really funny,
multiple times in this film.
I actually laughed at this film. Yeah, this is
yeah, like properly laughed. And it's just it's witty. It's like sarcastic in the best way. It's satirical. For like some like the basic premise is Gus is Gus actually the name?
That's
of the
his name's
character?
Gus. He talks like this.
Yeah, he's really
He's
good.
actually-
He's actually really
He's actually
good.
a good actor, which is the thing,
Like,
which
he's
is really crazy. It's like he really pulls it
Um,
off. He really has a sense of himself.
Okay, bomb, whatever.
Yeah.
And like even like the side characters, like, you know, it's like it's not like you know, it's not like amazing acting or like. Well, I guess it is for the film that this is, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not like fucking Daniel Day-Lewis like ripping off, like trying to be like, you know, it's not like that. But like everything in the movie fits to the aesthetic of the film, and the story is bizarre. And in a lot of ways, I actually don't really know what happened in a lot of scenes. Like, I'm not sure 100% what was going on, but it didn't really matter because I was smiling and laughing and enjoying the film the entire way through. When I first knocked this on, though, and it started, not knowing anything about this film, and like just knocking it on, and it starts off with a guy like waking up. He's like, "Oh, what's up, mom?" And it's another guy in a wig with like this voice on, going like, "Oh, I'm just cleaning your toesy woesies." I hit pause. It's like, okay, hold on, wait.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if this is for me.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this, but it pulls you in. I don't know. At a certain stage, everything just starts to work, and this is like, it's a musical sci-fi film. And it's so much more than that in a lot of ways.
It's like, yeah, basically Gus gets abducted into outer space by an alien called Max, who's a really funny character. And he's like, his house is abducted into outer space basically, and he's tasked with making the greatest film of all time, and he's competing alongside Spike Lee, who is personified by a sock puppet, like a literal sock puppet, who wears like a suit as well. And they're competing against Tim Burton, who is just played by some guy who puts on like this accent that doesn't even sound like Tim Burton. But like it's like these two sort of tribes facing off, trying to make the better film. And Gus has to make the greatest film of all time before the deadline.
Or the universe gets
Or the universe,
destroyed
for some reason, gets destroyed.
by Tim
By
Burton.
Tim Burton, yeah, because he wants to destroy the universe. So there's a lot. The plot is really pretty difficult to follow, but that's basically the bones of it. And yeah, there's a point where it just starts, like, everything starts to click, because it's all in black and white. It was originally shot in color though. It was shot in color on like a camcorder, and it was the first film that's ever been post-production turned into a black and white film, apparently, you know.
Yeah, they pulled a fucking Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
And a Logan. They did it before. It was cool.
Yeah. They turned it into black and white in post. But yeah, there's like a point where things just start to click in together. They have like intertitles as well. There's like chapters to the film, and there's like little jokes that just it's just like 2 or 3 frames. There's just so many jokes like built into every frame of it. You know, it's a real passion project in like the most pure sense of the term. because you can tell like how much effort and like love and passion for the medium itself like really went into the whole project. That's really charming that way. It's like I really enjoyed it. It was difficult to get into the swing of it, but like it's like once you get into it, it's like this is it's just really refreshing to watch, I think.
It is. It's like it's a breath of fresh air. You have never ever seen a film like Bundeloafe II, The Return of Jafar. I don't even know what The Return of Jafar is even referencing.
I don't think that's ever explained in the film. But
and Gus has 4 dicks.
yeah, that's the thing. It's revealed that about halfway into the film, Gus has 4 dicks. And these symbolize like a cat with 9 lives. The 4 dicks symbolize his 4 lives. And he loses a dick. Every time he loses a dick means he gets closer to death. So he dies he dies about 4 times in the film. 3 times on camera. And the 3rd time is when Spike Lee takes the like quote unquote the biggest shit in the universe and gets close to death. So Gus has to give him an extra dick to save his life. And then the 4th time is when he's like hit over the head with a baseball bat after he's completely lost all hope. And like that's when he dies for the final time.
Complete nihilism. He gives up.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, sort of there, but yeah, he gives up. And he has 4 dicks. But yeah, that's basically the point we're making here. He's 4 dicks.
But man, I like. Because it's the bit where like he's in the bath and like it's like a flashback or something, and his mom is like giving him a shower or a bath or whatever. It's like, Mom, why do you always bathe me? Like I could do it myself. I'm 37. Yeah. And she's like, oh no, I've seen your room. You can't do it as well as I can. Now stand up. And he's like, I don't want to, Mom. And she's like, stand up now. And he stands up and she's like, well, move your hands. And he moves his hands and there's 4 dicks. And then it just goes intermission. And I was like, I'm glad there's an intermission because I need a fucking break after seeing that.
Yeah, just the one of my favorite scenes was when he meets the King of Space, Forest, I think his name is. There's a guy with the things coming out of his ears, and he's like giving him a tour, and it's like a lot of it is like completely improv, and you can tell like they're just sort of like they're obviously just mates who are like
just
riffing,
bouncing off each other.
just bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
And there's like one point where Gus is just like, he just starts yawning and lies down, and like I don't know if it was planned or whatever, but like he has like bored syndrome or something like that. And he's like, I'm so bored. This is just so boring. As for some reason, it just really made me laugh so much. It was so funny, just the way he does it.
Yeah.
Because like that sequence is going on for like 5 minutes. You're just like, oh, this is like, it's such like a conventional scene within the context of everything else that's going on. And then he just lies down. He's like, this scene is boring. You know, it's very good.
Yeah, it's like, and it's like self-referential as well. Yeah, there's just so much about this film. Like, it just oozes charm, and
it's oozing all
impossible.
Over the place.
It is. It's oozing a lot of liquids. One of my favorite bits is when the guy and there's loads of songs in the film. The songs are really good. Like the Blue Ball song is very good.
Yeah, the Little Blue Ball. That's actually a cool song. Yeah. The Little Blue Ball.
But the guy that comes later on is like, I didn't get to fuck anyone, and he just like his blue balls explode. He just starts coming everywhere, and and Gus is there. Is like, can I go?
Yeah, that's like one of those like non-secatures or whatever. It's like it has no connection to the rest of the film. But like this guy was obviously one of their mates. He's like, we'll give you a scene in the film. I assume like that's how it worked, because he's not really related to the plot in any other way. He just comes everywhere, and then leaves.
Well, the bit where like they rob the bank and to like fund the movie. And he's just like, for no reason whatsoever, just gets like really into the idea of being like the sadistic like Joker character nearly, and he's like, you will all worship me by sucking my cock, and it's like it's just got really like kind of like not disturbing, but what he is saying is really disturbing.
And then Gus gets the money that they've gotten from the bank. And he goes on to Craigslist, and he's in a bad moment, and he's like, he pays a guy $40,000, like the budget, like what they've stolen from the bank, and pays him to cut off his dick and then eat it and feed it to him. or one of his dicks. I think it's just the second dick.
It is the second
Canonically,
dick.
yeah.
But that was really gruesome.
Yeah,
like,
that was
so,
a bit weird.
That was good body horror.
Yeah, body horror. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like a carnival. It has a bit of everything, you know. There's everything in there: romance, horror, you know, musicals, drama.
And I love that that like he's just like, where are we? And it's like, we're in outer space. And he's like, come on, I'll show you around. And they're just walking around a city, and it's like, look at all the space here.
Yeah.
It's clearly this dude's just walking around recording. I think this film is like an achievement for like this film has literally no right to be as good as it is.
Yeah.
My only like problem with the film is that it's nearly 2 hours long, and I think it could have done with being a little bit shorter. But on 1.25 speed, that's no bother at all.
No problem whatsoever. Yeah, I watched it over like 2 days, because it's like listening to a different language. You know, it's like this thing's like, it's like really refreshing to see, and it's pretty cool watching something that like not many people really have watched, because it has like less than 500 views on YouTube. And it's like 7-8 years old. But like it's also like sort of difficult to get into, and sticking on the 1.25 works a treat, because it really, as we're saying, really adds to the manic energy of the film. And it doesn't really, it's almost like those old kind of silent movies, or like movies from back in the day that are like slightly sped up. It's like it almost adds to like the slapstick character of what's going on. It's almost like a Buster Keaton kind of character in Gus and like all the guys.
Yeah, it's got such a kinetic energy.
Yeah,
like each part of this film just like flows and works together to complement each other in a really like strange and unique and like really like it like almost like in a really like innovative way. In a way, like the way that they talk is almost like, in some bits, is like 4chan, like how they talk, nearly like meme kind of shit. But it's also not. Like it feels like like this film could only exist thanks to the internet. It kind of embraces that, if you know what I mean. I don't know. It's just such a unique, strange, and really beautiful film.
Yeah. It's definitely something I've never seen anything like Bundeloafe II. I've never seen Bundeloafe I, which is a problem. I don't know what that's about. You know, I know it's
Bundeloafe 1 is only is a short. It's only 9 minutes long.
Is it? I know it's like it's referenced in the film as well, because it's like this is like a meta sequel to a film that they seriously made as like what you'd imagine this film to be, like an artsy kind of like student film, you know, avant-garde, like, or that's the impression I got from online, from articles about the film. But like this one's just like completely taken. This is the Gremlins 2 of the Bundeloafe universe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'd love to watch this with people as well. Like I feel like people need to know what this film is, and it is getting like, thanks to like the two Jacks that like told us to watch this movie. This film is starting to like, they converted 2 more people to their weird little cults.
It's picking up steam. The movement is happening. Come on, lads, get on board.
And it's free online on YouTube. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a really, really good movie. Like,
give it a go. Just give it a go.
Just give it a go. If you're listening to this, give it a fucking go. Look this thing up. This movie is an absolute fucking blast, and I think I'd love to watch this with people.
Yeah.
This is a movie like more so than any other film that I've ever seen. I'd love to watch it. Like I was telling my mom about this, and she was like, "It sounds really cool," and I was like, "It is really cool. It's really weird. I don't think you'd like find it funny or anything, ma'am, but like it is cool." And she's like, "No, I appreciate like what they did."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because I was showing her bits, and she walked in when I was watching it, and I just hit pause, and she looked at it, and she's like, "Is that like a sock puppet?" I was like, "Yeah, it's Spike Lee," and she was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it's Spike Lee." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Spike Lee character's so cool. He's hilarious.
Max is brilliant. Devin's brilliant. Gus is brilliant. They're all great characters.
Coleman
I love
is
that
great.
Elvis is in this film as well.
Yeah, Elvis.
Coleman, I love the ending
is
where
so
it's like,
deep.
and Coleman again.
Yeah. But the ending where like Coleman's like, it's basically like a standoff. Basically, Gus has died or whatever, and it's a standoff between Coleman and Tim Burton, and he Coleman like breaks up the CD of Bundeloafe II, like the film that they've been making, and like talks about how he wants the whole universe to feel the nothingness that he's felt his entire life. And for a second, it's like really poetic, and it's like, oh shit, it's proper getting into it, you know.
Because I was like, oh, the film, like, I was like, because I was like, that's a statement, and then Spike Lee is like, art is dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah, because it's like really like existential and like kind of sad in a way, and it's like, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, I actually don't remember at what point Coleman came into this movie, but I'm glad that he's there.
Yeah, he's great. Coleman's great.
And the dad, I think, like, I love the ice cream dad, like, cause he's clearly just one of the dads. I think it's Mark Wilson's dad. Is the guy with the two ice creams, and he just shouts. And then you have the three
aliens,
like, the three
the
kind of
Eel King, and all them, and Jenny Hauser.
Yeah, Jerry the ginger breed, the Eel King, and Jenny Hauser. The three of them were so funny. I loved every time that they were on.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's
Jenny Hauser.
A fantastic film. And it's like, again, like, it's kind of like the part of like this film that's so good is like no one knows what this film is.
Yeah, it's a bit of an anomaly. You know, it had a screening though, didn't it? It was screened at a festival once when it was first released. It's not just like a YouTube release. Like, they tried to get it out there.
Yeah, Robin's friends with the two Jacks, because I know that like Robin's seen like a lot of films, and she's seen like a lot of like obscure shit. And I was like, when we got recommended like Bundeloafe II, I was like, what the fuck is Bundeloafe II? And I went into the letterbox. I was like, how the fuck has Robin seen this?
Is it on Letterboxd?
Yeah, it's on Letterboxd. Yeah.
It's gas.
And she was telling me that they submitted this to be in Sundance, and they just like they put it into like every category basically. And the way that Sundance works is that like if it's nominated, someone has to watch it. So this film was like watched by like a major like Sundance like critic or whatever that like had to like properly watch this film.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it didn't win anything.
Yeah,
honestly,
compared to most what comes out of that kip, you know. I don't know anything about Sundance, but
neither.
Fuck it.
But fuck Sundance.
We're not fans.
They did our boys in Bundeloafe II wrong, so fuck them.
Yeah, when's the third one coming out? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
We'll get Gus. Gus will be our second interview.
The fans are waiting now, Mark. Come on.
Get him on. We're calling you out, Gus. We want you on the pod.
We need you. We want the whole cast on.
That'd be a challenge. That'd be a technological challenge.
Like 25, 30 person Zoom call. I don't think our laptops could handle that at all. Our laptops would explode.
Yeah, you're like, welcome to episode 28.
But yeah, Bundeloafe II, amazing,
yeah.
Great film.
Go for it.
Watch it, everyone. Be part of the new up and coming cult movie.
Join the cult. Join us. Join us.
Join us. Stick on the fucking mask, stick on the cloak, and let's have an orgy. And by orgy, I mean, let's watch Bundeloafe II.
While having the orgy. That would make sense.
That would make a lot more sense. We go on to listener questions.
Let's listen to some questions.
Do you want to plug the bits?
The bits, few bits. If you want to get into our bits, you can follow us at paro_pod on Insta or on Twitter. Or you can ask us questions or whatever via email at theparopod@gmail.com.
So the first question is coming in from Ross, and Ross is asking, is Citizen Kane actually any good?
Yes.
Yes. Like, did you... No, you weren't in my English class in like 5th and 6th class.
Yeah, I was about to defer to your leaving cert experience, because you did it for leaving. Yeah,
I had to do this for my leaving cert, and then I was like, oh grand, that's done. I don't have to watch like Citizen Kane again. And then it came up in college, and I was like forced to like this movie basically, because I've had like all the like amazing qualities of this film like explained to me, and I've had to study the film for 2 big exams and two different like levels of education. It's like a fucking what's that? Stockholm syndrome is what I ended up basically getting.
Yeah, with Orson Welles.
But I understand. But like having studied it so many times, I'm like, yeah, no, it is a good movie. Like it is a good movie, and I could
What makes it so good for you?
like I know what you're saying. Like it's for me, it is that Joan of Arc thing that I was talking about earlier. Where like you kind of have to remember like this film like revolutionized like how American films are made and shit like that. Like it changed the game in a lot of ways. And was innovative in a lot of ways. Is it as innovative now? No, but you do have to kind of like give it a lot of credit for what it does. And I think I haven't seen many structures of films where it's a character study, but it's a character study from the perspective of different people and the way that that character is portrayed in terms of like lighting and camera angles is like akin to how that character talking about Kane viewed him, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
And like it's got really amazing montages. I love the montage with the two of them sitting on opposite sides of the table, and slowly the montage like shows them like very quickly like growing apart and like this marriage like disintegrating. I think that's really really well done. I think Kane as a whole is like a very interesting character. But the first time I watched like Citizen Kane, I didn't know like when it showed like Rosebud at the end of the film, I had no idea what it was. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And then it was, and after the film, it was like, "All right, so what was Rosebud?" And no one in the class knew what it was.
Yeah, it's like year one, isn't it?
It's no, it's a sleigh that he's using at the start of the movie.
Mm.
Because it's tying him back to his childhood when he was actually happy for the first time. But yeah, what do you think of Citizen Kane?
Yeah, I think it's good. You know, it's like the Jesus of films. You know, so you can approach this guy. You know, like it is. You know, everything's very innovative film. Orson Welles was a king. You can't go near him. You know, he just knew what he was doing. I watched Mank recently, and Mank about the writing of Citizen Kane with Herman Mank and Orson Welles. It's just like what were they doing? They're just being mad bastards making crazy films, you know? It's like fair play for them. You know? Like, I think it's good.
I think it's good, but I can like I
wouldn't rewatch it. Like,
no, I wouldn't rewatch it. Like maybe in years to come, I'll rewatch it. But I think that like no, yeah, I enjoy it. Like I know like it is slow and it is like boring and shit because it is just like it is the most drama that ever fucking dramaed. Like it's like it is, and it is like, but it's an amazing character study. Now, has there been better character studies since then? Probably, but you know, it's innovative. It's a classic. It deserves the recognition that it gets. But like again, you kind of like in the way that like I was like. I kind of had to study the film twice to fucking actually like the film really. Like if I was just watching this film and like not studying it or whatever, like I probably wouldn't like the movie. But it's from that like studying of the movie that I enjoy it. And I completely understand why people don't like it. Like 100%. I'm not gonna argue with someone with like it's a shit movie. I'm like, well, it's not really a shit movie, but you know, I can understand why you don't like it.
Yeah. So, anyone who doesn't like Citizen Kane, we're inviting you for a debate on this podcast next week.
Bundeloafe II is better than Citizen Kane.
It's sort of very similar, you know, very similar films.
Innovative in a lot of ways.
They're both black and white. Yeah. Yeah. So what's our next question?
Next one's from Neil.
I'm trying to see. Oh, it's straight to Neil. Neil, maybe the best question ever asked in this podcast. Best sex scene in a film.
Asking a lot of questions there, Neil.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Maybe one of the three that take up The Room.
The Room is the one with Tommy Wiseau's ass is maybe one of the greatest images ever put to film, ever put to celluloid. Well, celluloid and digital at the same time, you know. But yeah, that's a great one for me.
That's a great one.
I'd also put the Avatar sex scene where they
have
the sex
hair
with their dreads. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. The aliens have dread sex. It's like, what the fuck. More recently, Showgirls. Most people haven't seen Showgirls, but the one scene that really stood out to me was the scene where Kyle MacLachlan and your one have sex in a pool, and she starts doing this belly flopping thing. It's like The Exorcist, but like horizontally, and it's so weird. So she's just like convulsing in the water. I can't even describe it. You have to sort of watch it. But it's also a really notable sex scene from a film that I've recently watched.
Spring Breakers, the threesome in the swimming pool. And it's just like spring break, and and it's like really like the water is so it's like a luminous blue, and like it's James Franco just being alien, and it's great. I'm trying to think, like most of the time I just forget sex scenes in films because most of them are shit.
Yeah. I don't think there's like I don't think I've ever actually seen like a good like, you know. I'm just taking this to mean like notable sex scenes. That really stood out in the film. But most of the time, if it stands out, it means it's really bad.
Oh, The Handmaiden, actually, when you get the shot of you being the vagina being licked, that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few grim ones that...
There's a lot of grim ones.
There's
a lot of grim ones. Because, like, especially
on this podcast.
Especially on this podcast. Like, but even, like, I'm trying to think of, like, other ones. Because I'm like, what? Like, Blade Runner has a sex... Like, it's not even a sex scene, but, like, it is a sex scene, kind of. It's the start of a sex scene. But, like, part of the problem is, like... Like, when you get to, like, a lot of, like, older films... The power dynamic is so off in like...
Yeah, I watched a film way back at the start of lockdown. It's called The Galaxy of Terror. Or Terror Galaxy, one of them. It was on Amazon Prime. It's one of those Amazon Prime films.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, I think it was Roger Corman either produced it or directed it. It's from the 70s. And I think James Cameron was involved as well somewhere in there. But there's a scene in like towards the end of it where like the space monster is like this kind of snake kind of thing, and like there's this like woman, and she's like, you know, like voluptuous like sci-fi kind of like stock female character, and they basically just have sex in one of the scenes. It's like her and like the alien, and it's like it's renowned for being one of the most disturbing sex scenes ever put to film. It's because it basically just shows everything, and it's like it's also out of nowhere as well. So I don't know why I felt the need to watch that film, but I did.
Did you enjoy it?
No, it was a very bad film. I would not recommend anyone to watch that. It was such a waste of time.
Has there ever been like in terms of like like authentic like love or something like that, or like intimacy? I don't think I could name a single good one. Like I don't think like most.
How could you put that on film? Like I don't think you can, because you know films like. And inherently...
Oh, Antichrist, the first one, and the kid falls out the fucking window.
Yeah. I was just thinking Land of the Lost, where the Slee Stacks have sex while Will Ferrell and your man are like watching. They're like, they're about to fuck. And then they like shed their skin and stuff. It's so funny.
But like, I don't think like authentically, like, you know, actual intimacy, in terms of like, you know, what sex actually is, I don't think there is.
It's impossible.
I think it's impossible.
It's impossible. I think film is a voyeuristic medium, and unless you're into that kind of thing, I don't think it's possible.
No,
I don't think it can be done.
I don't think so. And like,
I've never seen it done.
Even in terms of like when it does try and do something like that, like, you know, you see a fucking boob or something like that, and it kind of just pulls you away from it. It's like, oh, I'm looking at an actor's boob.
What?
Or something like that. Like that, it's the voyeuristic aspect that you're talking about. Like it's just like as soon as you see like any nudity or something like that, the like idea of like any intimacy is just ripped right out, and it's not happening.
Yeah. Because you're like, whoa, there's boobs on the screen, man.
Holy shit, I was going to see a titty.
You're watching like this really romantic, serious film. Boobs.
Oh, I go see like just like goes like big mud titties.
Yeah.
I'm amazed there wasn't a sex scene in Bundeloafe, honestly.
Yeah. I would have thought they would have gone for that.
But also, I guess it is just a bunch of friends shooting a movie, so that'd be fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, they're naked at various points, like.
Because it's got 4 cocks.
Yeah. It's like gotta put them to use. Yeah, I don't know if it can be done.
No, I don't think it could be done. It's way too difficult. Maybe we get VR goggles. Maybe then. But until then, But at that stage, it's just fucking porn. So
Yeah, at that stage, yeah, you're blurring the lines there.
you're just doing porn, like,
You're just doing porn, yeah.
which I
So
guess is what
if you
Gaspar
can,
Noé did in Love. He just basically made a really artsy
yeah,
porn film.
yeah, if you can feel authentic love through like an image-based medium, then like that's a whole different. Like we're literally living.
No, you got fucking
Yeah,
problems.
you
like,
need help. Like we're living in a dystopia, if that's the thing.
like
you need,
we're going back to like episode 6, like, or 8, whatever time we talked about fucking Perfect Blue. I think it was episode 6, and like falling in love with the image and shit like that. Like you got bigger fucking problems.
yeah, yeah,
Stop watching films.
yeah. Forget about Letterboxd. Forget about your film review. Go get help immediately.
Yeah, the only good ones are like stupid ones or like iconically weird ones. There has never been an actual good sex scene.
Yeah, great question though.
Great question. Brings up a lot of that is. But to be fair,
Really
like
makes you think.
it does make you think, because I never even thought about the fact that, like, yeah, film is like a voyeuristic medium, so therefore there will always be like a level of detachment when you are watching a sex scene.
Yeah. So maybe that's why it doesn't happen, you know.
Yeah. And then our question to the listeners, our question to use was opinions on assigning a numerical value, like as in giving 1 or a 10 to a film, and are they needed or are they pointless? I'll pull up Liam's answer, because Liam gave probably the greatest answer to a question we've ever like given.
A dinger of an answer. The greatest answer of all time.
So Liam is part of Theatrical Cut, along with Robin, where they review films. So, and I was actually reading Liam's review for Malcolm and Marie just when we had our break, and he was like, "Please don't call me a film critic. I'm just a guy that likes films." However, Liam is a film critic, so Liam says, "A casual film goer won't see Saint Maud or the latest indie horror film. But if they see it gets a 4 or a 5 in the paper, then they might see it. So I think for proper critics, then, it's a great way to get people to read your work. Film Twitter, however, has made everyone a critic. Hypocritical of me, I know. This leads to stupid fights over if Tenet is a 4 or a 3. Some people will look at Rotten Tomatoes scores too, and won't watch a film if it has a low score, which is dumb because Hot Rod, which is an amazing film by the way, is rotten apparently. And I like... That's just kind of like, there's a lot of different like opinions and a lot of different perspectives on this, and I think too much weight is put on the idea of a film being like, you know, a 7 or an 8 or a 9. Like, they're just kind of, for me, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like an easy way to sum up your feeling on a film.
Yeah, yeah.
But people put too much weight on, you know, whether or not a film is a 4 or a 5 or 5 stars or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think about this?
I wouldn't be down with any kind of quantification, you know. I think it's a bad idea. I read an article many, many moons ago that I've now completely forgotten most of the points and what they're trying to say. But I'm gonna repeat it anyway. But it's about Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is a terrible thing for art. I think it's a terrible thing for cinema in general. I think because if you're below 60% of Rotten Tomatoes, you're rotten, and if you're above that, you're fresh. So unless you please 60% of critics, you have a bad film on your hands. And the whole thing is like, it's not, Rotten Tomatoes became so big that it became like the sort of stamp of approval. If you're a studio and you want your film to get good word of mouth, you want it to be approved by over 60% of critics. So you like naturally make it as inoffensive as possible. You know, you don't
take risks.
Because Rotten Tomatoes doesn't distinguish between, which I think is sort of an argument within an argument in terms of this conversation. It doesn't distinguish between something that's rated 5 out of 10 and like 9 out of 10. So if you give it a positive review, it's a positive review. It's like, you know, a binary kind of system. Yeah. So like, studios make films that are 6 out of 10 rather than try to, you know, shoot for the stars and make a really good film. I think that's a problem with the whole rating system. In general, you know, because, you know, a studio would much prefer to get 3.5 stars for across the board from the critics rather than take a risk, and maybe some critics give it like 1 star but like other people think it's amazing, you know, because like I think that's mainly how it works. Either film is either going to be loved by most people, or not loved and hated a lot of the time. Whereas if it's sort of liked generally, then it's obviously not taking risks, and that's something that's not rewarded by a stars system, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I think as well, and like this is going on to something else, which is like the idea of like, you know, ending explain videos, but in a way like when you see like a film is like, oh, like 9.8 or whatever, like 9.8 on fucking IMDb, like one of the highest rated films on Rotten Tomatoes. Like all the critics and everyone fucking loves it. 5 stars across the board, and you watch it, and it's like a kind of weird film, and you don't like it, and it's like, oh shit, like what's wrong with me that I don't like this film? Like this is an objectively good film, which is wrong. Absolute no bullshit. There's no such thing as an objectively good film. Everything is subjective, which is, I'm just going to skip down to Kevin's point, which is Kevin says like pointless. Taste is subjective, and I 100% agree. People put way too much focus on the numerical score of a film rather than, you know, what they themselves might actually feel. And also, like, most of the time as well, people won't even fucking read or listen to a fucking critic. They'll just see the star rating and just leave it at that.
Yeah, no one reads those reviews, like, you know.
No one reads those reviews. They're just like, oh, it's got 5 stars, I'll fucking watch it. Oh, it's got 1 star, I'm not gonna watch it.
Even the studios, like, reviews are only a means to an end within like the whole industry itself. Like reviewers or like the reps, like company reps, only want little sound bites that they can stick into the trailer or the posters.
Stick it on the box.
Yeah, stick it on the box. It's like a tour de force. You know, his greatest work, or like all this stuff.
Yeah, just stick all the 5 stars that they got just all over the fucking box.
Yeah. It's like, what's the point of that? But like, it works because it's all about marketing. That's it. Load of bollocks. Because
you're like, because we won't use Letterboxd. And like I don't care what fucking Letterboxd, you know, the average rating on Letterboxd is or whatever. Like I've just gone past this. I used to really care about that, like when I was younger, and I feel like it's an insecurity thing. Really, I've been really insecure about like your own feelings on a film. Even worse is when you get pissed off when someone rates a film that you like really, really low.
Yeah.
Don't worry what someone else thinks about a film. Like don't worry about it. It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Like, do you actually need your opinion to be fucking justified? Can you not like back up your own argument? You're like, oh well, I like my favorite movie of all time is Shawshank Redemption because that's the top of every fucking 100 list or whatever.
Yes, people are sad. Unless someone rates Texas Chainsaw Massacre, say a 1 out of 10. Then I'd feel the compulsion to enforce my opinion upon them.
So you're wrong.
Like why would you care? Like, what? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not real. Doesn't matter. First of all, stars, they're not real. They don't exist. They exist on paper and on screens. It's not real, man.
It's not real. And it's too easy as well. It's too easy to sum up someone's opinion just by like looking at. Because I like to give 5s to films or whatever, but like I have big problems with films that I give 5s to. Like,
hey, wait, what's your rating system? Like, take me through it.
Just like how much I enjoy a film. Like because like with Possession, I rewatched Possession the other day, and originally it was a 4, but when I watched it again, it's like, nah, this film like hits me like in a really weird way that films don't normally hit me. And on top of that, you know, the technical aspect of the film, I think it's amazing. The performances are amazing. The subtext is all there. It has everything that I like in a movie, so it's a 5. Now, does it have a problem with some bits of editing? And there's some things where like, and this is a me thing, where one of the actors has a really strong accent, and he's in a hallway when he's talking, and it's real echoey, and I had to like hit pause. I was watching on my TV. I had to hit pause, unplug the HDMI cable, stick in the headphones, and really, really listen to understand what he was saying. And that's a problem with the film. Like, the sound design for me isn't great.
Just turn on the subtitles.
I didn't have subtitles for it. Like, yeah, so just watch a film with subtitles would fix that. But like, I feel like a film shouldn't need subtitles just because it's got really bad sound design, and it has like
Yeah.
Possession has bad sound design in some scenes.
Yeah, man, just turn on the subtitles. What are you complaining about my movie for? You can't hear anything. Like,
But
yeah.
yeah, like but like you have your like fives. Like you don't give film fives.
Nah, five means a perfect film. Like, perfect film. That means you can't get higher than a 5. That means a film can't get any better. That's what I read it to be.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah, because when I see you give like a 9, I was like, or like a 4.5 stars, like that film's amazing. Obviously, like Mark's favorite films of all time are just 9 out of 10s.
yeah. Oh yeah, don't I have a 5? Yeah, but like, I don't look at the old. I like the page. Like, I log them from like the home page of that thing. So like, I don't see what the average score is. You know, going in blind.
Good shout.
So the whole ratings thing. It's like we have this whole film canon, or like the Western canon in general. Like all these classics. Like the whole notion of a classic. A classic was never created because it got enough 5 stars. You know, from reviews from
Citizen
people. You know.
Kane isn't like a Citizen Kane because it got a load of fucking 5 stars.
Yeah. It's not. There's not a certain amount of stars you need to get from a certain amount of people when you become a good film. You know, it's like a different thing. It's a vibe. You know, it's a feeling. There's definitely a subjective, very big subjective element to it. Yeah.
Do you want to take Ben's point there?
Ben's point. Ben is telling us that too subjective for me. Also, what calculates an 8 and what differs it from a 7, etc., etc. Great point.
Yeah, like it's so arbitrary. It's like, oh, this film's a 7. Nah, that one's an 8. Like
There is a difference, though, isn't there? It's like a vibe. It's like
it's
you
the
can
vibes.
vibe the
I think
difference. You can tell the difference, man.
we set the science to this. It's all about vibes.
Vibology.
It's about how you vibe with a film.
It's an exact science. Look it up.
Articles have been written on it. Parapod discover the truth of cinema.
We've been published, you know, in Nature magazine.
But yeah, like I understand what he's saying. Like, there's no real there is a difference, but there's not.
There is, yeah.
But it's arbitrary, and it's like it's only because we perceive an 8 to be better than a 7.
Yeah, well, that's like a 3. It's like difference between 3.5 and a 4. There's so much difference there. There's a whole universe of difference, you know. It's almost. It takes me back to Blow Up. Remember Blow Up?
Yeah.
Or no, Zabriskie Point, with the whole thing about reading too much into like getting lost in the image, basically. Like, you have a film, and your film's like 2 hours long, or whatever. And you watch a film, and you get your vibes, and you react to it as any normal person does, and you have your opinion on it, and you know what it is, but like maybe you can't articulate it, but you have to articulate it if you're giving a review. And so then you have a 5-star system, and like you can look into each star and like divide it up into like how many different stars you want, and but there'll always be more and more like ways to like pick it apart and go deeper and deeper into it. You're not going to get anywhere, you know. Just stick with your initial gut reaction, and like just. You know, don't even articulate it. Don't tell anybody. Just keep it to yourself.
Yeah,
you know,
keep
don't.
it yourself.
You know, it's like it's easy to get lost in there. You know,
it is. It's
in
easy.
the particularities.
Yeah, and especially like, and I really because I've been thinking about this because when I'm doing Letterboxd, I don't give half-star review ratings. I go for full stars, and with that, it's like.
It's admirable.
I'm just like, okay, this film is like it's like a 3.5 or whatever, like stars. But because I'm not doing 3.5, I have to give it a 4 or a 3.
Oh.
So what is it? And in some cases, I'm just like, no, it's not it's definitely not a 4-star. It is a 3-star film. But in some cases, I'm like, no, it is so clearly a 4-star film in that case.
Yeah. It's like a chicken and egg thing, like.
Yeah.
But like it's like a philosophical question. But it's not even like really related to films. It's like numerology or something like that. It's more like magic.
It's just it's like the 4 stars feels right with this film.
Yeah. It's like this has nothing to do with films, really. Like this is about vibes.
Yeah, it's like it's 4 vibes out of 5.
Yeah. And it's a weird one.
It is weird, and it's so weird to like put like a scientific thing like numerical values on like artistic expressions. Like it just like it like kind of like strips a lot of the like what art is out of art, if you know what I mean.
It molests it.
It really does. You got your grubby little fingers all over it. Like
Yeah.
it's like feeling it up. It's like, you feel like a 4 stars.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, that's actually so true.
But and then Carl is saying it's the kindest way to describe films like Igor.
That's so true. Igor is a 1. Igor is a 1.
I read that first, like I don't really understand what he means, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, no, it's like,
Igor.
it's just an easy way to be like Igor's a 1, like Igor's a 1
Yeah.
star. I'm not gonna go into why it's terrible, but like it's just a 1 star, and it's just a kind way to say that it's a bad movie.
That's so true. Yeah, you don't have to use any swear words. Igor is a 1.
You don't
Just
have to go on like
that's
a 20-minute rant about how Malcolm and Marie is bad. You can just say it's a 1 star film.
Yeah. And then Tom is saying, don't think there's a ceiling for how good a movie can be. So what constitutes a 10? What do you think about that?
I agree with that. You know that you were saying like a 10 is like a perfect film, so like there can never ever actually be a 10, which is an interesting way of thinking about a film. But like, what's perfect for you is different for what's perfect for me. And I think like a 10 out of 10 horror film is not going to be a 10 out of 10 comedy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to like, and I think like someone said that as well. Yeah, the Bundeloafe fan club were like, depends on the film. But we're going to what they said later on. But the first bit they said like depends on the film, and it does depend on the film, because like what is that film trying to? For me, it's like what's that film trying to achieve? Does it achieve it? And is there like other shit that I like about the film? For me, that's what I give like a 5 to, or something like that. And I also see like there's like that emotional connection that it also has to hit me on, which is very hard for a lot of films to do. But I think there's like 38 films I've given a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd too, and those 38 films do that for me. They hit me on that emotional level. But that's the vibe thing. That's
yeah.
I'm like, I can look at a film like this is technically a perfect film, well acted, well written. I like the story now. But it just doesn't hit me on the emotional level. On the emotional level is what actually matters. That's what gets you from a 4 star to a 5 star for me.
Yeah, you need some sort of, you need to be like partial to it. You need to have a soft spot for the film. It's like, I don't think you could ever say, like a Kubrick film or a Fincher film, you're not going to be like, this is my, I feel like this film is my son or whatever. This film is like my dog, my point is you can't have an emotional attachment to something like a Kubrick film or a Fincher film because they're so sterile. They're so like, I don't know, they're really technically competent.
Yeah.
But there's always like a missing emotional level to it.
Yeah. Unless it's The Shining, where the point as well is like, for me, The Shining is a 5 because it freaks me out in like in a way that it intends to do. Like it's trying to like scare the shit out of you in a really weird way. And Possession, I think, does the same thing, where they freak you out in these really weird ways. And like I'm not getting like the emotional responses in love. It's horror and fear, but like that's what the film is
In a
trying
good
to
way.
do in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
And then Cal is saying Ratatouille's a 10.
Ratatouille's a 10.
I like Ratatouille. I like Ratatouille a lot.
I can't go with it. I don't like
But
Ratatouille.
see, this is the thing.
I'm not
Art is
Ratatouille guy.
subjective.
There's a degree of subjectivity. But Ratatouille, don't see it.
That film is all heart, man. That film is like all heart. It's with the love of cooking.
The love of cooking. I can't relate.
And like, I think like Ratatouille really conveys the love of cooking as well in a really cool way.
Yeah, I only eat takeaways, so I hated it. I didn't like it.
I never go to a fucking restaurant.
No, I just didn't get it when I was a kid. But I haven't watched it in ages, to be fair.
Do you want to say the Bundeloafe fan club one?
They're saying, depends on the film. It is necessary to give Bundeloafe II, for example, an instant 10. What do you think about that?
Well, I didn't give it a 5 out of 5 in Letterboxd. I gave it a 4 because I think like I was really confused for a lot of it. But like, yeah, because like that's like the kind of thing that we're talking about, where like everything in the film works together in this really unique way and this really like creative way. and it's unlike anything I've ever heard. And charm and fun and charisma is oozing out of the film. That
Just oozing.
for someone else, I can easily see why it's a 10. And I like, personally, it's not a 10 for me. But what about you?
I give it a 10 just to support the lads. I don't think it's a perfect film at all. Like who cares about that stuff?
Yeah, who cares? Don't strive for making a perfect movie. Like that will just be a sterile film.
Yeah, but we're gonna do that anyway. We're gonna make the perfect.
Yeah, when
movie
we're
one
making
day.
our Batman found footage film,
It will be the perfect film. That's a guarantee.
like no person will dislike it.
Yeah, it will be objectively perfect in every way. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 on Letterboxd for the
So-
crack.
It's a show.
For the crack.
And then Neil is saying, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being pointless, 10 being necessary, I'd give it a 7. And I think that is...
Is he rating our question?
But like, I think that's exactly right. Like, if I was to rate the necessity of like a point system or rating something out of 10, I would give it like a 7. It's like, yeah, it's pretty necessary, but it's not that necessary.
7. I'd probably give it maybe a 4 or 5. You
I
know?
was thinking about maybe a 5 or a 6.
Yeah. Let's have a big debate about that. Yeah.
Yeah, what rating would you give rating systems?
That'd be a great bit. Yeah. Yeah, I think Neil really called us out there. I think that's sort of the perfect kind of meta commentary. Sort of lampooned us in a way.
Yeah.
Sort of completely dunked on us.
That's like the
with this-
best. Like I think that's like I know that Liam gave like the best response, or whatever. But Neil's response like perfectly summed up rating systems as a whole.
Yeah, he's living in the fucking fourth millennium right now. You know, he's in the Bundeloafe universe.
Best question that we've ever gotten, and the best response to like this question.
Within the space of a few minutes, that's how he did it.
Genius.
Don't know where he comes up with this stuff.
I tell you
He's a
what, I'd
genius.
give Neil a 10 out of 10.
He's a perfect human.
Perfect human.
A perfect question asker. Fact.
But yeah, like that like perfectly sums it up. Like rating systems aren't exactly a 1 out of 10, but they're not 10 out of 10s either.
Yeah, it just goes to show.
The whole concept is flawed. Rotten Tomatoes has like ruined how people watch how some people watch films.
It's ruined cinema.
Tainted the way that people like perceive films anyway. At the very least.
Yeah, the binary kind of thing. And you have like not to beat this dead horse, but you have every Marvel film 90%. Like there's no like if you're thinking like people see that 90%, they think 9 out of 10. That's not what that means. It means 90% of people thought it was better than bad. You know?
Yeah.
It's a very misleading system.
It is, yeah. Because I didn't know that about Rotten. Because I thought Rotten Tomatoes worked like any other like IMDb or Letterboxd or whatever. Like I thought like 90% means that like it's a 9 out of 10. But like no, 90% of people think that it's a decent film. Think that it's better than a bad film.
Yeah, it's not bad. That's literally the only criteria for a fresh rating. You know.
But that's the thing though. Like a 6 out of 10 is a positive review. Like that means it's because I feel like
3 stars.
5 is like average. I feel like if you're to do it like that, like 5 would just be like an average film or whatever, and then anything above that is like a positive review or a positive rating or whatever.
Yeah, 5's not even the average though. Like the average is like 6, 7. Like that's the average
that's-
score people give. So the average film is good according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is just
False.
not true.
That's just completely false. The average film is terrible. Fact. Look it up.
Look it up. That's a science.
That's a science.
Vibology says so.
Vibology. It's the core tenets of vibology.
All films are bad. But yeah, we leave it at that.
We'll wrap it up.
Next week we are talking Toxic Avenger.
Toxic Avenger.
1984, I want to say. Could be. I don't know what year this one came out, but it's by Lloyd Kaufman. Any parting words or gifts for the listeners?
Stay safe. Keep it clean.
Watch Bundeloafe II.
Watch Bundeloafe II. Yeah, give it a rating. Tell us what
Give
you
it a
think.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you, everyone.
Bye.